want to let people know that it's okay to just be. I had a weekend of mm, let's see, connection and reflection, and I was reminded that sometimes people are afraid to just be. Because I'm not saying that I'm any better than anyone else, but the connection part was I could understand what was being shared as a memory, and things like how people may treat you or perceive you, those kinds of things, and how that does shape how a person moves in the world. I mean, on some level, there is, I guess, as a society, um, an expectation of behavior, things like that. So we don't walk around with no clothes on, right? That's an expectation of behavior. But then when it's turned into such a way based on your race or your gender or your sexual orientation or your economic status or your religion, all of these things, there are these, I guess, yeah, rules of decorum in them. But then there's also what is called bias, and that's what I'm going to talk to my students this week about a little bit, um, and how it builds prejudice. Um, Me as a singer songwriter, I never let the assumptions of other people, because I've learned over the years what other people think of me is not my business. I'm not in their head. I don't know what experience they've had of a certain thing until they've seen me, because I've run into situations and had associates and friends talk about situations, mostly women, um, where we're in a creative field and we're out on the scene, and I can tell you stories definitely of how sometimes men make assumptions about women, and let's say women of color making assumptions. So I don't necessarily get offended anymore, because that's not my business, because it's also not my job to prove anything to anybody. So that's also, I believe, where a lot of what I was hearing this weekend was coming from. It's like, I make what I make because I want to, and I'm not here to prove anything to anyone. You know, if you don't believe that black women play guitar, then that's not my problem, because they do. I remember going to a electronic music symposium that some friends of mine were putting together. It's kind of like a meetup, and I met this one woman there. She looked like me, and we are probably the only two women of color in there walking around. So I was just walking around like whatever, blah, 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 all kind of things. And then I see her and she sees me, and I guess she's glad to see me, and we're talking, and she tells me, like, yeah, this one guy, I walked up to them, and I think he made some kind of comment to the effect of, well, why are you here? So I don't know. Again, I have such an upbringing that it doesn't connect anymore, or I just use it to my advantage. And I felt for her. I really did. I felt for her that that a lot of people are still affected by what other people think of them. You're not going to be free until you let that go. Just be. You know what I mean? So in that moment, I remember telling her that's his problem. It's like, but you are here. It's like, I'm here because I'm a musician. It's like, I'm not going to sit here and debate you. It's like, either you believe it or you don't. I'm here. Or, another situation where I can tell you where I have a friend who they're musicians and they went on tour and they were setting up, getting ready to perform. And this, again, a guy comes up and says, "You play guitar?" And they'd be like, "Yes." And I'm going to leave it with this. When I was giving music lessons in a music shop, music store, mom and pop place, I would, when I'm waiting for my students, I would like to go out and practice on the sales floor. And I did have this one little favorite guitar, and I wish I'd remember. I think I can find it again, the brand, but it was like a 3/4 size acoustic guitar with nylon strings, so it was easy like butter to play, and it was so fun to play. But anyway, I would almost purposely be out on the sales floor, just noodling away on the guitar, and it was always cracks me up, always, that men would come in, and it would always be like the older ones, and sometimes men who look like me, older ones, that would be like looking crazy. Like, I was like, what? So I think I use the fact of their ignorance to my advantage. That's how I operate as Nerd Queen. Oh my gosh, that's jumping out there. So I use their ignorance to my advantage. It's like, I don't have to prove anything. I just am. Just be. Okay? Um, yeah. Just be, y'all. You do not have to prove anything to anyone. And I think too many times that's a lot of energy that's being wasted on trying to prove to people something that if they had an open mind in the first place, they would probably know. I laugh, like, it is funny to me. It is. And I think, like I said, once I realized that, I was like, yeah, they're kind of dumb. They're kind of ignorant. Not, let me say not dumb. They're ignorant, and ignorant in the purest sense. So I'm like, wow, they really just don't know any better. They live in this closed off, sheltered world, and sucks to be them. So that's what I would say. Yeah, just be, y'all. Okay. All right, it is about to rain. I need to go make some desserts for me and my brother and do some more cooking for the week. I may have some performances to upload also that I did this weekend. But yeah, just be.